What if I told you that the man who built the happiest place on earth was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination, went bankrupt multiple times, lost the rights to his very first successful cartoon character, and had a nervous breakdown before he ever created the mouse that would make him a household name in every country on the planet? His name was Walt Disney. And his story proves that the most magical things are often built directly on top of total disaster. Walter Elias Disney was born on December 5, 1901, in Chicago, Illinois, the fourth of 5 children. His father Elias was a stern, hard-working man who struggled financially and moved the family frequently, from Chicago to a farm in Marceline, Missouri, then to Kansas City. Money was always tight, and discipline was strict. Walt later described his father as a difficult man who believed children existed mainly to work. It was in Marceline, though, that something essential took root. The small-town charm of that Missouri farm, the apple orchard, the trains passing through, the sense of safety and wonder, would later become the direct inspiration for Disneyland's Main Street, USA. Walt always said it was the happiest period of his childhood, even though it lasted only a few years before the family's finances forced another move. From a young age, Walt was already drawing constantly, on scraps of paper, on the side of the family barn, anywhere he could find space. He and his brother Roy delivered newspapers for their father's paper route before dawn, freezing through Kansas City winters, a grueling routine that left Walt exhausted but also instilled in him a relentless work ethic that never left him. At 16, desperate to do something meaningful, he lied about his age to join the Red Cross Ambulance Corps near the end of World War I, missing combat by mere months, but getting his first taste of independence and the wider world. Walt's early career was a parade of failures that would have crushed most people. He was fired from a Kansas City newspaper for lacking imagination. His first animation studio, Laugh-O-Gram, went bankrupt in 1923. He moved to Hollywood with almost nothing and, with his brother Roy, started again from the garage. His first real success, a character called Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, was stolen out from under him in 1928 when a distributor exploited a contract loophole and took the character, along with most of Walt's animators. Walt was devastated, but on the train ride home, in a moment that has become animation legend, he sketched a new character, a mouse. Mickey Mouse debuted in 1928 in Steamboat Willie, one of the first cartoons synchronized with sound, and it became a sensation. Walt kept pushing boundaries no one else dared touch. In 1937, he released Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the first full-length animated feature film in American cinema history. The industry called it Disney's Folly, certain that audiences would never sit through 83 minutes of cartoons. It became the highest-grossing film of 1938 and saved his studio from collapse. He followed it with Pinocchio, Fantasia, Dumbo, and Bambi, each one technically groundbreaking, each one a financial gamble that somehow paid off. Then, in 1955, he did something even more audacious. He built an entire physical world. Disneyland opened in Anaheim, California, the first theme park of its kind, built on the radical idea that adults and children could share the same sense of wonder in the same physical space. Critics called it impossible to maintain and predicted it would fail within a year. Today, Disney theme parks welcome over 150 million visitors annually across the globe. Over his career, Walt Disney was nominated for 59 Academy Awards and won 22, more nominations and more wins than any individual in history, a record that still stands today. Walt Disney didn't just make cartoons. He invented an entire industry. Before Disney, animation was considered a minor novelty, short, crude, disposable. Walt treated it as a serious art form worthy of the same emotional weight as live-action film, investing in technical innovations like the multiplane camera that gave animated scenes real depth and dimension. Every animated film made since, from Pixar to Studio Ghibli to DreamWorks, exists in a tradition he essentially built from nothing. The Walt Disney Company today is one of the largest media and entertainment conglomerates on Earth, encompassing film studios, television networks, theme parks, cruise lines, and streaming platforms, generating tens of billions of dollars in annual revenue and employing hundreds of thousands of people worldwide. Few single individuals have had their name become so permanently synonymous with an entire global industry. Beyond the business empire, Disney fundamentally shaped how multiple generations of children around the world experienced storytelling, music, and imagination. Characters like Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and the Disney princesses became cultural touchstones recognized in virtually every country on the planet, a shared visual language understood across barriers of nationality, language, and age. Disneyland's concept of themed immersive experience went on to influence shopping malls, museums, restaurants, and entertainment venues worldwide, an entirely new approach to designing physical space around storytelling. Walt Disney was a lifelong heavy smoker, and in November 1966 he was diagnosed with lung cancer. He continued working almost until the very end, reportedly sketching out plans for what would become Walt Disney World in Florida from his hospital bed, looking up at the ceiling tiles and visualizing where each building of the new park would go. He died on December 15, 1966, at St. Joseph Hospital in Burbank, California, just 10 days after his 65th birthday. He never saw Walt Disney World open. His brother Roy delayed his own retirement to see it through, opening the Florida park in 1971 and naming it in Walt's honor as a tribute to the brother who had dreamed it into existence. Despite persistent urban legends claiming his body was cryogenically frozen, Disney was cremated, and his ashes rest at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California, a far less mythical ending than the rumors suggest, but one that somehow fits a man who always preferred building real things over chasing fantasy for its own sake. Walt Disney once said, "It's kind of fun to do the impossible." He spent his entire life proving it, failing publicly, losing everything more than once, and rebuilding each time with something more ambitious than before. The boy who was told he lacked imagination became the man whose imagination reshaped how the entire world tells stories. The bankrupt animator who lost his first character on a train ride home sketched a mouse instead, and that mouse is still smiling at children on every continent on Earth. If you enjoyed this story, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. Who do you want to see next?